I'm part of a larger research group that's called DREAM. And in DREAM, all of us, I think we're about 9 PhD students at the moment, and we have been 2 postdocs. And in DREAM, all of us work in cooperation with one or more museums in order to create this sort of space for working together with museums. There was space to work together about the visitors, learning, and digital media. All of us work within the age group of 13 to 25, not 23. And I would really have loved to show you a slide about our goals and our things, but DREAM, yeah. And it's but I can explain what DREAM stands for. It's the digital research in educational and advanced media materials. So mainly you can say that we are into learning, we're into young people, we're into digital media, but we're also into museums. But museums are not our primary goal. Museums are some that we work together with. I would love to have shown you a beautiful picture of a museum that I'm working together with. Because my museum, the museum that I work with, is Moesgaard Museum. I don't know how many of you know Moesgaard Museum in Aarhus. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the names. But Moesgaard Museum is an archaeological and it's an anthropological and archaeological museum. And that's nothing special about that. But the special thing with Moesgaard is that they have just reopened in a brand new museum building. The museum building itself has won lots of architectural prizes and is well known. But the exhibitions themselves are highly digital. Which is what I want to show you.
It's a lot about imagination, isn't it?
It is a lot about imagination, but also we help the visitor create that imagination. So if you are nearby Aarhus, come and visit. I really wanted to show you some pictures and also have some sound. Okay, I'll tell you about my project then. My project is about combining the physical environment with the virtual environment. So in order to know something about what happens in the physical environment, I did a small pilot study in the old building before the new museum was built. In the old building, the Moesgaard had an exhibition called The 7 Vikings. The 7 Vikings was highly digital. And it works. So I can tell you a bit more about Moesgaard. The new Moesgaard Museum opened on the 11th of October. It's been highly successful. Lots of digital media, lots of visitors. Almost as many visitors as we used to get in a year. We have already had since 11th October. So it's a really big success. And as I said, it's highly digital and it's worth coming for a visit if you're really interested in digital media. The pilot that I'm going to tell you about today is the 7 Vikings, and it was a sort of a test ground for the new museum. They tried out a lot of different types of digital media. There was sound, there was video, there was interactions, there was tactile interactions, where combined with digital media gave you a different type of experience. And also there was an RFID tag that allowed the visitors to gain extra knowledge and the story, which I'm going to tell you some more about later, and also show you an example of one of these stories. The study that I did was an observational study. I gained permission from the visitors by setting up a sign in the front of house, and also I instructed the front of house staff to let the visitors know that I was around, but I didn't tell the visitors who I was and where I was. I was shadowing them around so that I wasn't so I didn't really give them knowledge that I was there. So I think that I got kind of the real experience from them, but of course I couldn't hear what they were talking about. I could only see what they were doing. So therefore I made unstructured conversation with them afterwards. I approached them saying, oh, I saw that you were standing there for a very long time. What did you do? Why did you do that? What did you talk about? And normal visit to this exhibition would be a young group of young people coming in, choosing the RFID tag, walking around the exhibition, listen to a few stories, not all of them. That was very unusual. And then they watched a couple of 3D videos, and then they walked to the sailing installation, which is I mentioned in my paper review. In Sweden, and then they started to sail. The case study that I'm hopefully going to show you today is quite unusual in a way that makes me think a lot about how exhibitions are made and what we can do. And how we can make exhibition that engage not only young people but also all different types of age group. I would love to show you a picture of the Randali woman, which is the case that I'm computer.
Can you follow me?
Yeah. It's not the computer.
Yeah,
it's the touch.
It is the computer.
Yeah, let's try the computer.
Well, can we just try that? Can we combine it?
Myślę, że nasza już myszka teraz. Tam jest...
Czy już działa?
No, powinna działać.
I don't have it.
Thank you. Now I just here are aims and goals. And you can also just go to them on our website. It's www.dream.dk. So you can always just access, and there you can also read about all of the different PhD programs and postdocs that we have had. This is Moskva. As you can see, the building is quite unusual. It should assemble a piece of grass that open up from the soil, and you put all of the prehistory in it, and it's very just the building itself tells a really great story and grand story. Yeah. So I really wanted to create engaging exhibitions, don't we all? And appeals to many different target audience. Moskva has 3 target audience. They have children, the parents of the children, and the grandparents. And then you think, where do my age group fit in? They don't. But then they do, because the exhibitions are made in such a way that every age can actually engage with them, if you're into digital. So, I did the small pilot, and I did observations in this very normal exhibition without any digital media. It's Ilov Odale, it's from 1995, I think. It's, no, 2004. It's very new, or new in a sense of the Cultural History Museum, but there's no digital in here. There's sound, there's music playing, but that's the only digital thing that's actually going on here. So I did observations of young people in my target age group. It's just to let you know that there was an extensive amount of text. So if you wanted information, you could gain it. This is the 7 Viking exhibition where I did some of my observations. This is the sailing installation that I just briefly mentioned, and you can read more about it online and in my paper. And this is the RFID tag. It was very important for the museum to make something tactile. So it's a copy of a real archaeological object that you pick and then you place it on these readers, and then you gain a story when you walk around the exhibition. But what was really interesting in this exhibition, what I found out was the most interesting thing, was the Vikings. This is the Rannele woman, which I'm going to tell you a lot more about later. And this is, I can't remember his name. But as you can see, they're very lifelike. And I also saw children that were very afraid of them because they thought they were dead. So we actually sometimes had to turn out the light. They were exhibited in a very dim lighted room, and it was very emotional, and it was a highly immersed experience when we went in there. The Rannele woman. Hopefully this will work.
It's me you're looking at. I lived my whole life just a few kilometers from here. When you look at me, you should know that everything you see really is me. I'm the woman from Ranlev. You can see my entire life in my face. These cheeks have been soaked by the rain. My lips were once young but are older now. My eyes are like amber when you look into them, but perhaps they were the same color as yours when I was alive. They could have been black, blue, or grey. I don't really know, because I used a still pool of water as my mirror, and water doesn't reveal all colors. Another thing you should know is that you and I perhaps share blood. Maybe we're branches of the same tree, from the same father and from the same earth, from the same hopes and expectations, and we're almost identical.
So as you can hear, it's a highly emotional tale that they are on the thing that you can relate to. We are maybe family. But she's also different in a way that she's actually constructed on archaeological material. The archaeologists have found a skeleton, so she's built upon research. She's also different in a way that she's the only one that's awake. She's the only Viking that was awake in that exhibition at that time. Now it has changed. In the new museum, the Vikings are all awake. Here are more pictures of the Rannele woman. As you can see, her hands are very real. I experienced lots of time that children and adults took her hands while they were listening to the story. It's very emotional. Go back. No. I just go back. Sorry, I'm a Mac user myself, so sometimes I have difficulties with this. So, the case that I want to tell you about today was a very special case, and it has become to mean a lot to me when I talk about it. As usual, I was in the exhibition doing observations, and these three girls come in. They are between age 16 and 18. They're high school girls, and they're chit-chatting as girls usually do. And they pick an object. They pick the Rannele woman's object, which was very typical once more, because if you're female, you choose a female. Well, that was what my study showed anyway. And she was the only female in the exhibition at that time. So they go into the Rannele woman and they place their object. And they get this story, and you could hear that it was very emotional. And I was standing in the corner just looking at them. And then towards the end, I could notice that one of the girls were crying. And she was literally crying, tears were running down her face, and the two other girls were whispering. Not talking loudly, not chit-chatting, not laughing. They were whispering to each other. So the girls leave the room and they walk around the exhibition, and in the exhibition space they behave like most visitors did. They browsed around. Oh, that sounds interesting. I would put in my my object here, and I'm listening to the story. And then they walked into this room that's called the cemetery room, or that's what I'm calling it anyway. It was a room that nobody actually wanted to listen to. And they listened to the entire story. And that was the Rannelev's cemetery tale again. It was the tale about being left alone, and all the men were out at sea, and I'm here, I'm alone. And the girls also once more started whispering. So I thought that was very interesting. So afterwards I approached them and talked to them, oh, why did you stop there, and what did you whisper about when you were at the Rannelev room? And this was what they told me. But that was what they talked, what the two girls were whispering about. That they wanted to give her hope. She was so low, sad and alone, and I really wanted to take her hands. And afterwards they go to the cemetery room, and I thought, what are you asking? What did you talk about there? And they said, well, we started to reflect that they were like us, and it was real people that were there. They were not just skeletons, they were real people. They were my ancestors, they were my, they could be my relatives, my great-great-grandmother. So I thought that was really interesting. How did an object like this immediately start to wonder, but also reflect about their past and their present and life in general, that she was so alone. And it could create such a strong emotional feeling. I'll go straight to conclusion. So can we create engaging exhibitions? Yes. Can we create them for all? No. Because not everybody got this experience when they entered the room of the Vikings. I also experienced people that said, I don't want to take an RFID tag, I want to look at the objects. Fine. I also heard people thinking about this Rannelev woman as, in their language it was corny. It was not very, it was kind of overdoing stuff. But this target group, young people, not young people, young girls in their teens, it was perfect for that. And also, I think I'll probably stop with that. I'll just say that my research has gone into the new museum, and they have kept some of the good stuff, but they also changed some of the stuff that I've noticed that didn't function. So we were asked to reflect about what our research had done, and so far it had given me a lot of knowledge about how young people react in a highly digital exhibition. But also when I did observations in the non-digital, I could see how they were not engaging in the non-digital. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry for all of the